today, my focus is going to be on creating a well-established training program for Amazon's warehouse employees. So this is something that has really caught my attention, and I wanted to talk about it and address it to the managers at Amazon. According to a survey conducted by Talent Culture, 40% of employees who receive poor job training left their position within the first year. This goes to show you the importance of having employees with proper training. Not only does it give them confidence, but it allows them to build skills that makes them more motivated to stay at the company. Now we're going to discuss the training program for Amazon's stores, safety importance in the warehouse, what is exactly a store, what are their responsibilities, and what do they do, and also how to be an efficient store, how to get things done properly, how to get things done faster, and getting the most out of your handheld device, which is the main tool that is going to be used as a store. Lastly, the importance of being properly trained. Why am I stressing so much on being on the importance of having employees that are properly trained? Now, first of all, we're going to be talking about stowing training. So, what's the goal of this training program that I've created? Well, I wanted to have a work environment where employees enjoy their job and they excel at their job. So my main goal out of this would be to have employees that are just overall happy with their job and they're able to develop skills in the certain area that they're performing. Why did I create it? Well, because I worked at Amazon for about 2 years and I noticed how some employees were struggling to complete some tasks due to lack of training, and I did not want that to happen again to future hired employees. And as I complete this training program, the outcomes are going to be pretty positive. Companies will benefit from this program. They will generate more revenue because they're going to have more efficient employees getting more tasks done, and employees will overall be more satisfied with their job. Now, moving on to the importance of training. As I said, both parties benefit from this proper training because it increases self confidence and positivity for the employees. They are more likely to enjoy their job, and they're also more likely to stay at their current employer. Also, it generates efficient employees, ones that will be more beneficial to the company, which will cause the company to increase revenue. Now, safety is a really important part in this program. And as an employee at Amazon, once you walk into the warehouse, you're going to have a safety equipment room, which has a bunch of safety equipment such as reflective vests, gloves, and box cutters, all which you need for your tasks at Amazon. And the reason why a vest is important and should be worn at all times is in order for the delivery drivers to have a more clear view of where you are in the warehouse, to avoid any accidents, and of course stay hydrated, to always be energetic and just overall be productive overall. Now, as a store, your responsibilities are going to be to grab whatever boxes are on the rack, which is in your assigned aisle. So as you're a store, you're going to be assigned an aisle which has a shelf, and that shelf has boxes on it. Though the boxes are not going to be the same boxes throughout the night, they're constantly going to be replenished, and your task is to take those boxes off the shelf, scan them with your handheld device, and put them in the proper location. So, by the proper location, I mean put them in the bag, in the correct bag that's on the shelf. Now, we'll get to that in a second. Proper stowing, you gotta be familiar with the shelf locations and the bag locations. So, each bag is special because it it's on a it's on a certain shelf location. And for example, if you're in the stowing aisle and you look to your right, you're going to see a shelf with 4 levels. The uppermost level is coded by a number 4. If you go downwards, it progresses 3, 2, and 1. And then the first shelf to your right is coded by is alphabetically coded starting with A. And as you progress downwards the aisle, it progresses, the alphabet progresses. So it goes B, C, D, and then it stops at E. So make sure you're familiar with those locations because they're important in the storing process. Also get the most space out of your bags, because if you don't get the most space out of your bags, you're going to be constantly replacing the bags throughout the night, which is gonna take time out of your shift, and you're gonna be wasting time, and it's not gonna be the most productive thing for you. Also, always stay on the move. Make sure you don't stop, because being a store is a pretty demanding job. You're always going to be required to take boxes off the shelf and put them in their designated location, so you don't want to get caught behind. And of course, remain focused and consistent throughout your job. Now, lastly, which I have mentioned, are the handheld devices. The handheld devices are going to be your tool throughout your sewing process. Once you scan a package with your handheld device, it's going to tell you the exact location that you're going to have to put the box in. And then, of course, that'll be the location that you put your box in, and that location is the code which I've mentioned, the alphabetic and numeric code for the designated bag. Now you can use an armband device holder. You can just keep the device in your sleeve, because that'll help you keep the device always close, which will give you an easier view of what's on the screen and know what you're looking at. Know, as I've said, know the bag locations and be familiar with them to avoid any confusion. And lastly, make sure to turn up the volume on those devices, because sometimes they could trigger error codes. And once you hear the device make a noise, you know that you've done something wrong, and that'll allow you to correct your mistake.